fellow denizens of the Wastelands. My name is Brainsmasher, and I am here with some heavy metal entertainment for your asses. This is a collection update for your brain. It's been a minute. If you don't follow behind the scenes, I shot my last two videos, minus the Conjureth review, before I left for Germany. Spoiler, I didn't leave for Germany because China. Yeah, y'all know what's going on. We don't need to get into that a whole lot, but yeah, it's been kind of shitty. Having a 2-week vacation that you save up and work up for just pulled out from under your rug. So yeah, I can't be blowing as much money on records as I normally do. I don't know if that's actually going to happen, but I'm saying it so there's some accountability, so I can feel terrible about myself later on when I'm poor, destitute, and dying, melting away in my furniture, toothless and hungry. Anyways, there's always metal to cheer us up. In the background, shout out to my homie Cal, laying low in these sad times, playing Skyclad, Wayward Sons of Mother Earth, the original pirate metal before it got bullshit. This is great fucking riffs, just maiden licks all over the fucking place, lots of furious fucking swashbuckling going on. I never noticed until I just put this on a few minutes ago how much this probably influenced Absu, who we will talk a little bit about in a little while. Yeah, we won't talk too much about Absu. A little bit of a sore topic there. Anyways, so I got a ton of stuff in. This is over the last couple of weeks from various places. So I was on a buying hiatus where I was only allowing myself to buy one album a week until I left for Germany. And then when I went to Germany, I was going to go to record stores and see what I could find and bring home. But when Germany didn't happen, I unleashed fucking fury upon my bank account, and here's what I have to show for you. A lot of CDs, one LP, a lot of really great stuff. It kind of pains me to compile all this great stuff into one video because I know you assholes are only going to remember 3, maybe 2 of these wonderful, magnificent records. So I'm just saying all this stuff is fucking killer, and I hope you spend some of your quarantainment time listening to maybe each and every one of these, because I'm seriously stoked on all of this stuff. And none of it is just like, I spent $3 on whatever and whatever, shit like that. I've really been I've been really enjoying listening to this pile of stuff. So I don't know, I can start anywhere. I have always meant to get a copy of this and never got around to it. And now original copies, I think it was originally released on Holy Records in 1993, are pretty hard to come by both on vinyl and CD. So, and I fucking hate reissues where they redo the artwork here, but so it fucking goes. This is Septic Flesh's Mystic Places of Dawn. And if you're familiar with this record, you probably aren't familiar with this fucking god-awful album cover. The funny thing about this is not only is it a shitty rework that has nothing to do with the original painting, and I understand, as an artist, maybe you don't have the rights to the original painting, maybe you've changed your mind and what kind of style and aesthetic you want to portray, whatever. But this sucks. It's not worth using. And all of their album covers from here on forward all look exactly like this. I don't know why the fuck you waste your time doing this. Just send me a blank, black fucking piece of paper. Totally stupid. Anyways, this record is so damn good. I don't know. The Greek scene has never really been something I pay a lot of attention to, and I need to remedy that. You know, I've just kind of got a little bit of Rotting Christ and Baratheon here and there, but Septic Flesh, their debut, Mystic Places of Dawn, is awesome. So this is a Seasons of Mystery issue. Came out in, I think, 2013, and this also compiles the 1991 EP Temple of a Lost Grace, which I haven't gotten to yet. I have just been listening to this over and over and over again, and it is so good. Minimal caveat is just the kind of archaic use of drum machine that can be kind of clumsy. But with the Greek scene, it seemed like there might have been like a shortage of drummers or something around that time. I don't know. But it is just fucking awesome. Just godly fucking riffs all over the place. Mystic Places of Dawn, man. Fucking great. I'm even open to, I guess, where do I go next with Septic Flesh? Is there a second record worth of shit? I really can't remember. I saw them live a couple years ago and I was really drunk and I yelled at them. And then Ex Deo came on stage and I yelled at them. I yelled really loud. I was not having any of that shit. Ex Deo garbage. But man, another fucking beast of a record here. Intestine Balism, The Anatomy of the Beast. An Anatomy of the Beast. The Anatomy of a Beast? Fucking killer. I missed out on the boat of this. I missed the boat completely until about last year on Intestine Balism. And like, it's just so fun to dig back into the past and find something that you can't believe you missed. But the name I just always thought stupid gory band, whatever. But upon further inspection, awesome artwork by Joe Patagno there. So this was released in '97 on Repulse Records, a label I've really been paying more and more attention to. But I also don't give enough attention to Japanese bands. And Testabilism were from Japan. They released 3 full lengths. I think the second one they did came out in like 2004. And like at first glance, this record is going to sound a lot to you like Human Waste by Suffocation. But Intestine Balism, really where they get their identity is how they'll be just insanely fucking brutal, but then they'll just fucking rip into these just sorrowful kind of symphonic kind of leads. I guess instead of symphonic, I meant to say melodic there. But just like these carcass heartwork kind of melodic leads that are just like dripping with soul and feeling. It's just this kind of oil and water kind of style to it where it's just fucking sheer brutality and then this really crazy kind of melodicism going on. This is pretty rare. I had been really pining for a copy of this for a really long time, about a year. And I finally paid about $50 I think for it. Bought it from a guy who I think watches my channel, Puddle Monkey. Good stuff. Let's see. Also picked up, as you know, Conjureth, Foul Formations. It rules. Previous video. See the review. What else here? On the recommendation of Ground Zero Salem, Pat, my boy. Sepsism, Purulent Decomposition. Also originally released, I believe, on Repulse Records. Am I right? This is a reissue on Disembodied. Repulse albums are kind of hard to come by, so if you ever see anything on Repulse Records, get it, and then give it to me. This is some brutal death metal that I totally overlooked back in '98, probably, when this originally was released. This is just kind of fun. Brutal American death metal. Total knuckle-dragging nonsense kind of stuff, but it's pretty well done. It doesn't have a lot of the things that usually kind of like pinch harmonics and fucking chugga-chugga-wee kind of shit that totally takes me out of the game. There's a lot of moments where I kind of start going, is it gonna suck? Oh, no, that was pretty cool. Yeah, okay, they followed through pretty good. So, I mean, it's the kind of thing that I'm kind of surprised that I missed back in the day, but I'm really enjoying it, kind of working it into the collection. This is from a long time ago, but I apparently forgot to include it in any of my collection updates. But this is Execration with Morbid Dimensions. This is a Oslo death metal band, and I want to say this is their second full length from 2007. First thing I'm going to say about this is get it if you love great riffs and awesome death metal. They'll start in with these kind of like Sabbathy, kind of doomy riffs, and just overall style. But then it just kind of seeps into this really eerie kind of discordant riffing, and then it just fucking slaps you upside the back of the head with just utter brutality. It's just this catacombs of just really, really surprising and unpredictable kind of styles. They really do a great job of just weaving this eerie sort of melodicism, but it's kind of dissonant in a way that just kind of has this uneasy kind of queasiness to it. But the power and the might and the brutality that they bring to it is also really awesome. The one thing I'll say about like their style is so strong and fully realized and consistent among all their songwriting. It's a really, really entertaining listen to just to hear them sell their idea of how metal should be consistently throughout this record. It's really entertaining, really different kind of thing. Of course, comparisons to Obliteration, Morgus Crone, Inculter, Necromantheon, kind of here and there could be made, but these guys are really their own beast. They won some kind of a lot of high regards for this record, so I was surprised that I hadn't heard of it until just a couple of months ago when I picked it up. I can't remember where I bought that from, but whatever. That's going to be the case with most of this stuff. Also from Pat Ground Zero Salem, he recommended this Exhumation, Seas of Eternal Silence. Another thing I was kind of surprised that I hadn't heard of until he brought it to my attention. Bic Records is doing great work reissuing killer stuff that no one's ever heard of. This is a Greek band, and this was originally released in '97. That should just be written on the fucking tombstone, apparently, at this point. But Seas of Eternal Silence, I've listened to it about twice now. Totally reminds me of a Greek death. Somewhere between Leprosy and Human, I want to say. There's some moments where they're being very barbaric and kind of early, where I would say like Scream Bloody Gore kind of era stuff is happening, but then they'll get really melodic. And it reminds me a lot more of something like Individual Thought Patterns. They're really talented, great songwriters. It's really technical. I haven't really listened to it a lot to give you like a full in-depth analysis, but you're welcome to check out Ground Zero Salem's summation of it. This has been a really, really immersive and interesting discovery for me. There's a YouTuber who I follow. His name is The Loser of 08, and he periodically, sporadically uploads content of varying quality. He's very kind of mousy, hard to follow, but he has some really, really awesome taste in not just metal, but a lot of the like dungeon synthy kind of stuff. I kind of appreciate his opinion on some of that kind of stuff, but also just like non-metal stuff. Like we have a lot of parallels in style, but he mentioned this in his year-end review, and I checked it out, and I am so bowled over by this. This is a band called Sadness, and this album is called I Want to Be There. Now, this was released on what is now a subsidiary label of Avant-Garde Records, who have released a shit ton of amazing releases over the years. I've kind of fallen out of step with that label. I couldn't tell you anything they released in the last probably 15 years, for that matter, but I'm kind of surprised that like this far along in the game they've decided to start a sub-label of stuff that all, as far as I know, sounds quite a bit like Sadness. The sub-label is called Flowing Downward, and they do these like boutique, short-run LP, I think tape and CD reissues of more like DIY Bandcamp kind of bands. So I appreciate that like a trusted name like Avant-Garde is doing something to kind of collect the best of that kind of stuff and put it out in a limited quantity, so it's not all that wasteful. It's not like they're trying to proliferate that kind of stuff everywhere. It's just kind of like for the people like me who happen upon it and like it, and it doesn't need to be everywhere, you know? So I'm really interested in checking out more bands on this Flowing Downward. I'm starting to kind of get in a weave here and there, but I didn't dive totally in on this label quite yet because I really, really wanted to spend some time with this amazing record. It reminds me so much of back when I first heard the Souvenirs de la Montrade something album by Alceste back in 2008. And that was just such a sidestep from anything I had heard in metal at that time. It was so emotive and just passionate and dark and different and unique. This reminds me so much of that. What really struck me at first and what really like turned my ear to it instantly was when I thought I was listening to some like late 90s emo kind of record. It was very melodic, very DIY sounding. It had this kind of chintzy, kind of homemade overall sound to it. And it was kind of unremarkable at a glance. But it built and built and built, and it got more melodic, and it just got kind of swelled in intensity. And in the second song on here, it's called it's the title track, I Want to Be With You. No, I Want to Be There is the album. I Want to Be With You is the second song. But it just kept building, and it really got me interesting, and it was really stirring. And then this kind of DIY black metal kind of layer and element just kind of rushed in. And it was one of those moments where it just makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up, sends shivers down my spine, and it was completely immersive. It blew me away. There was the moment where the vocals kind of step back, and there's this like chorus of children singing the chorus of the song, and it just worked so well. I don't want to spoil it too much by like spending a lot of time trying to describe it to the nth degree. I want you to check this out if it sounds all that interesting to you, but I think it's like a lot of this kind of DIY post-rock kind of black metal stuff, but it is doing it so much better than I have heard. I'm not saying nobody else is out there doing it really good, but I don't really listen to this kind of stuff all that often. So when I first put it on, I didn't really pay attention, but it was the second song that just fucking pulled my ear straight into it, and I was completely blown away. I absolutely love this. I will say there are moments like that that are super, super strong and just completely enveloping, and it's one of those moments where it goes beyond music and it turns into a physical feeling to me. And man, that is why black metal to me is so, so special. Sometimes it can do these things to you that just they're so transcendent. Wolves in the Throne Room have done that for me in the past, but a little caveat to this album is that some of the moments are just kind of boring. There's just kind of a lot of filler, synthy kind of ambient kind of stuff going on, and I would really like to hear more of the stirring kind of moments. But I understand that there's a lot of that is necessary to building up to those parts. So some levity to be had between the more immersive moments and some lighter kind of contrasty kind of things. I have since shared Sadness with a couple of friends who told me that he has other albums that are better than this one, so I'm looking forward to checking those out as well. But I've just been really firmly planted on I Want to Be There because I was so absolutely impressed with this. I think next week I'm probably going to be listening to this constantly. It really feels like a whole new frontier for me to be listening to after having spent so much time on like old school stuff, death metal stuff, gory, brutal kind of shit. Speaking of that, let's get into some Ectoplasma, another Ground Zero Salem recommendation. Doesn't lead me astray. This is Wide Eyed Trance. Ectoplasma are a band from Greece on Memento Mori, and that label puts out fine, top-notch material. I haven't had enough time to spend with this. I just kind of haven't really been in the mood for it. Spun it about 2 or 3 times, and it fucking rules. It's not all that unique. All I could really say about it that sets it apart from others is that it's just really, really good. This is only released on CD and tape, as I understand. I'm kind of surprised because this is really, really good. Also picked up an old school gem. I've kind of always had the intent of getting this because it came out on Cacophonous Records in, we all know where this is going, 1997. Yeah, for Gelmer, Light the Black Flame. Saw this in catalogs over the years and just thought, it's probably boring. And I'm not saying it's not boring, but I finally own a copy of it, and I've always just wanted to have this. Maybe the reason nobody's ever cared about this is because this weird album cover, this fucking weird dragon boob kind of thing. Anyways, for Gelmer, we're from Sweden, and this is their only full length. You may recognize this guy Matthias from Algion. several of these members played in Algion, and I bring that up because this sounds quite a bit like an Algion, only a little more boring, I guess. It's like distractingly boring is the drummer. It kind of reminds me in that regard of Edge of Sanity. I think the drummer of Edge of Sanity just fucking dropped the ball very, very regularly. Same fucking thing. Anyways, Cacophonous is just kind of a near and dear label to me. And this is kind of unremarkable. It's really, really well written riff-wise. There's a lot of 3-part guitar harmonies going on that are really well done. And it is fun to go back to 97 and 96 and listen to that kind of thing at that time period and enjoy it for what it is in that context. It's well recorded by bass player of Hypocrisy, Michael Headland. So in that regard, it kind of also reminds me of The Abyss, which is really, really killer. Check out Vergelmer if that sounds interesting to you. The vocals are also kind of boring, but they're kind of low in the mix. It's just kind of like a riff album, if you will. Also picked up actually my first release from Zemiel, who are not from Australia, but Greece. Lived in Australia for a while. That's why I fucked that up a couple of videos ago. But this is my first Vergelmer release. So this is their most recent full-length 2013's Nykta. Hell's Headbangers put this out, and I believe they have this on discount right now. I didn't really know where to jump in with Zemiel. I did really like that 7-inch that I used on a copy of my compilation, which I don't have a copy of right now. I have some back here, but you can't have it. So this is fun. It's very Greek sounding. There are moments where it gets a little too like traditional to me, or Zemiel, I guess, so far, having only heard this album, they're one of those bands that are just kind of a little bit too into their thing. And I don't know what exactly their mysticism is, or religion, or whatever it might be. Their best times, they can sound quite a bit like Absu. And I really, really, really love Absu. I just wish they would kind of make a statement regarding the exit of their former guitar player, and that was a fucking mess. And I'm kind of at odds with Absu right now. Yeah, Proscriptor is now done with Absu, and he's playing in Zemiel. I look forward to see what they're doing in the future, but again, like, let's just move on from that. This also came in some freebie as an freebie promo. Usually I don't give a shit about freebie promos, but this is from a label sometimes called Ladlo, because they're called Lecture de l'Ombre. That's my French for you. And I was super blown away by this. I wasn't familiar with I was familiar with 3 of these bands. 3 of them who I kind of liked. Pensées Nocturne is on here. Aeol Hawk is on here, which kind of sketchy. And Dark and Hold. But there's a couple other bands on here that were really impressive, but I was super impressed with that compilation. Starting to think about the time here. Alright, been meaning to pick this up for a long time. 30 years coming. Revelations from Oblivion by Possessed. So, I've never really loved Possessed like I felt like I ought to. I get a lot of old school origin stories with a lot of bands like Sodom, Creator, Merciful Fate, King Diamond, Dark Angel, all that stuff. Respect the hell out of those bands, but Possessed were a band that were always a little bit too challenging for me to just entirely love from my head to my toe. I've got a lot of their releases, and honestly, Eyes of Horror is my favorite release by them. So I was kind of like touch and go with Possessed over the years, but luckily, like, I didn't have to worry about it. But when this came out, I was so happy just to hear that Jeff Becerra had put together a band. I watched them play some live footage at some concert, and it fucking blew me away. It was so fun, and it just kind of helped me understand, I guess, how to listen to and how to appreciate Possessed in a whole new context. And this fucking rules. It fucking rules. You know, as much as I talk about how I'm not really into reunion bands or whatever. This is so amazing. Apart from the whole story, apart from the story that Jeff Becerra hasn't been able to put out a record in 30 years, that doesn't sound like they missed a goddamn beat. It's so relevant, and so fun. It's just so enjoyable to hear such a successful attempt at just rejuvenating and revitalizing a band who were the very first progenitors of the genre there. I just respect the hell out of this record so much. The artwork is killer, but like, dude, it's so fucking heavy and fun. And it sounds like Possessed. It sounds so much like it ought to. I can't say enough good things about this, other than the fact that I've just never been a huge Possessed fan like I think some people are. For something completely different, how about, so this is a release from last year that I kind of missed out on. Hate the artwork, I think this is boring. But this band is called Laster. You may recognize them for being the kind of weird looking alien guys with these little helmets on. They are from the Netherlands, and I don't think there's a word of English in anything here. The album is called Het Was een Oog. My temperature is not in a worrisome level here. Nothing to look at here, honestly, but this is some very, very forward-thinking, avant-garde, modern black metal. It was... A friend of mine told me that it sounded a lot like Bedouin's End, and I was like, alright. A lot of people kind of use that as a selling point for a lot of kind of stuff, and I go, yeah, okay, discordant riffs, kind of disharmonic kind of stuff. Yeah, I get it. It's not melodic. It's kind of different. Avant-garde. Yeah. But the more I listened to this, the more I really, really fell in love with it. There's some very, very original things going on here that I've never heard bands pull off. They've got a personality all their own. They're putting out a lot of really good stuff lately. Looking forward to digging into the rest of their discography, but that is Laster with Het Was een Oog. Really, really killer, weird stuff. I'm going to put links down below for every single one of these releases so that while you're quarantined, you can listen to this stuff. I encourage you, listen to every single one of these. Just give them a minute of your time. This is also an amazing release, Un with Sentiment. First heard about this band from my buddy Marvel Mills. How you doing, Sir Meatwad? He was talking about this record maybe 2 or 3 years ago when it came out on Translation Loss. And it's this just beautiful, gorgeous, heartfelt, kind of funeral-ish doom record. And it's just so effective. I wouldn't say it's anything super original. It's doing the kind of thing that a lot of these bands like Mournful Congregation and that kind of stuff are doing. And it's doing it super well. But a lot of bands, sometimes I get kind of a little bored with that kind of stuff. But every time I have put this on, until I finally bought it, I have just been completely sucked into it. There's such a sincere, it's one of those bands that just seems like the artists have found their voice so seamlessly, so perfectly, and they're just unencumbered by anything but speaking so truthfully about what their songs are about. I haven't gone into reading the lyrics, but it's very apparent that they're just going for a very somber and sincere kind of atmosphere. Nice artwork on this. I sadly missed out on seeing these guys live in my hometown, right here, about 2 years ago or so. So, finally decided to pick up a copy of this. It's brilliant. It's really, really, really good. And I believe the label sold this for $9 on CD. And I want to say it might be naming price on Bandcamp. Check out Un. Amazing, amazing stuff. Speaking of Un, picked up 2 full lengths by Ungod. I think that completes my full length Ungod collection. This is Bewitched by Sins and Lust, and this is Cloaked in Eternal Darkness. Ungod have been playing the exact same second wave black metal style for going on 30 years. They're awesome. They do the same thing over and over and over again, and I love it. I can never get enough of Ungod. They're just great, awesome riffs, morbid, satanic, evil fucking black metal from Germany, and they're just super consistent. Love these guys to death. And I'm taking it short on them because I have been harping on Ungod on my channel a lot lately. So 3 releases to go. Man, this is such a 3 totally different bands. So speaking of Alcest, back when Souvenirs came out, it wasn't too long after that this band also put out this Septembre et Dernière Pensées on Prophecy Productions. And I remember back when I heard this come out, I was like, man, Alcest just did something completely different and blew everybody away. And then Le Discret came and did it just a little bit better. I was like, forget it for Alcest. These guys are the new Alcest. I still stand by that. This record is fantastic. Alcest did a great job of trying different ideas and doing them really well. I really love Alcest quite a bit. But it just kind of took me a long time to wind up picking up this one. This is kind of one of those brainchild bands where I think most of the music is written by one person. And that person also played in Alcest, I believe live, maybe on a couple of albums during that period. And they also did a split with Alcest. So kind of like came up along the same time period as one another. The guy also was an illustrator, and he does this kind of like dark Edward Gorey kind of childlike paintings. But this is just such an immersive, great, memorable, atmospheric. It's just steeped in total atmosphere. Prophecy Productions put this out, and I'm gonna guess around 2000. Yeah, French sounding kind of post black metal. It's one of those things that's so far removed from black metal that I don't think it's really valuable to call it post black metal, but it's just really post sounding, if you will. Next I've got something I don't know. This is Warning, Watching from a Distance. I remember the hype machine on this just all over the place. Checked it out back when it came out, 2008, and I was like, you know, I'm not really feeling it. At that time, what I was hearing was kind of a more traditional doom kind of record, and I was like, nah, I'm good. Since then, I have come to love Patrick Walker's other solo project, I believe, called 40 Watt Sun, and that stuff is just amazing. I love that stuff so much that I finally decided to come back around and just buy a copy of Watching from a Distance, because so many friends consider this just an absolute masterpiece. And I revisited it the other day, and just among this coronavirus kind of nightmare landscape, this is seriously like the biggest thing that's ever fucking happened in my lifetime. It's fucking crazy. It's depressing, it's stressful, it's really, really hard to make it through a fucking day with this going on. Yeah. So I put this Warning album on, and it took every negative, stressful, somber mood that I had and just pulled me into a black fucking void of just darkness. I was having a shitty day, and I listened to this, and it fucking ruined me. It just absolutely ruined me. And I respected the fucking hell out of it for it. And I haven't gone back and listened to it since. I have since reconsidered what I thought about it previously. It doesn't sound all that traditional. It is kind of riffy in that style more than 40 Watt Sun is. And I think for that reason, a lot of people like this more than 40 Watt Sun. And I'm not going to sit here and say I like this more than 40 Watt Sun, but it is such an emotionally draining record that you really have to be careful when you listen to this. It's just absolutely fucking painful. I learned my lesson with that, and I've never really had an experience with an album like that so much to where it just plugged into exactly what it wanted to, and it just fucking worked so well. On a lighter note, a more fun kind of note, a friend of mine was talking about this the other day, and I've always seen this in catalogs and whatever, and just kind of thought, whatever. I've never really been a big Vader fan, but this is a collection of their 2 demos. It's called Reborn in Chaos, and let's just dig in here. Vader were always just kind of generic to me. Necrolust and Morbid Rage. Those are the 2 demos that are compiled here. And this stuff is really, really fun, although I'm not that big of a fan of most Slayer. This is like Slayer playing death metal. Vader or Killer, this is really, really fun stuff. And I always thought Reborn in Chaos was just like another one of their full lengths. So I was surprised to find that this is actually their first 2 demos, which I've heard a lot of other bands talk about as being like their best material. And I'm not going to go that far. I'm not going to, like, I don't have a fucking dog in the fight with Vader. I've got The Ultimate Incantation. I've probably listened to it 3 or 4 times in the last 20 years. But this is really, really fun. It's just kind of, it takes apart all the things that I don't like about Slayer, and kind of amps it up with some real fucking might beef and puts some death metal fucking feet on its shoes. Shoes on its feet. It is definitely time for me to be done talking here. So we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining me. Check out at least 5 of this pile. I swear, this is a lot of really killer stuff. If only Skyclad, Wayward Sons Above the Earth. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. And if I do go into quarantine, I'll probably try and crank out a shit ton more videos for you. We need to get back into From the Vaults. Wait a minute, I'm forgetting one important release. Also picked up Erraunt, The Portent on LP. So, kind of interesting way I came about this. I met this guy at a, was it Or Noir show a couple of years ago, and we wound up talking. Turned out he knew me from YouTube because I had uploaded some Lunar Aurora material. And so I did some snooping on him after we became friends, I think on Facebook a couple of months later or something. Found out he was in this project. And I don't know, one thing led to another, and I wound up buying a copy of this, and I only recently learned that this was originally limited to 200 copies, and very many copies of this were water damaged in a flood. So I think something said that only 168 copies of this remain. You can still get it. There's a copy of it, I believe, on Discogs for 20 some euro. And yeah, go for it. I think you ought to get this. But I ran into Ben at a couple other shows, and we have talked a little bit about kind of music nerd shit, and we have a lot of really, really interesting parallels, and I really appreciate having friends like him watch my channel, because it's people like Ben who I do this stuff for. It also comes with this great envelope, which was sealed, surprisingly, and it has these like tarot card lyric sheets for each one of the songs on it. And yeah, this was a super interesting release. What little I know about him, style-wise, I really didn't understand what to expect. But another thing that made me very curious about this was my friend John Rosenthal, who writes for Decibel, called this one of the best Chicago metal albums of the last 20 years, I believe it was. Here it is, hand numbered. So, my record player shit the bed. The preamp went to hell on me tonight. So I decided to give this a first listen, streaming on Bandcamp. It's Name Your Price. Go check it out. This is one of the most bizarre things I've heard in a long, long time. It has been a really, really exciting past week or two of new discoveries of stuff that is just completely different from the usual. This black vinyl. This also came in a really nice anti-static sleeve. I've been seeing other YouTubers who have this stuff, and I've been kind of curious about how it works and how nice it is, and I actually really like this. Anyways, the Portent is super, super interesting. It reminds me a little bit of Utgite, in that it has this kind of lower register bass tone that's more like scrapey and trembling. And then there's this like, the guitars are clean, and I'd say it's more like bass distortion driven than the clean guitars, which are more melodic and kind of hazy and foggy. And then there's this kind of light, raspy, echoey kind of vocal going over it. So like the elements to it are really, really desperate and like far apart from one another, and it's like it's mixed really weirdly. So you're kind of in there, kind of seeing all this stuff come at you from various areas. It's mixed kind of confusingly, and I think that works to its advantage because it's just a bizarre, haunting fucking record. It is so unique. Beyond that, I don't think there's any really apt comparisons that I could tell you what it's like. But it's really, really challenging, and I've really, I guess, needed some records to challenge me at this day and age, just to kind of get me back into what I love about crazy music. So this is Erraunt, E-R-R-A-U-N-T, The Portent. Check it out. It rules. Thank you, Ben, for being my friend. We'll see you next time.